introduction. So we have in a Bhagavad Gita, we have totally 18 chapters. Okay. So there are totally 18 chapters. And in this Bhagavad Gita, it's a Shruti. Okay. So you might be have heard about Shruti and Smriti. So if you, and there is a very huge conflict of this Shruti and Smriti conflict from Zakir Naik. Whether you have heard about that lecture from him, I don't know, I'm not sure. So this is a Mahabharata is actually a Smriti, and this Bhagavad Gita is a Shruti. So generally, what is this Shruti and Smriti is? Uh, Shruti is like something which is directly heard from Lord. Okay. Smriti is something which you heard it, you keep it within yourself, and you understand, analyze it, and then again you explain it to someone. So then it is called Smriti. So any scripture which is heard and then analyzed, understood, and analyzed and explained, then it is Smriti. Okay, that is a difference. Shruti is which is spoken directly, which is coming directly from the Lord's mouth. So that is Shruti. So this is Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna. So it is a Shruti and inside Smriti, because Mahabharata is Smriti. So in Mahabharata, this Bhagavad Gita comes in Bhishma Parva. It's a sixth Parva. So from chapter 25 to 42. So you can just make a notes of it if you want. So if you want very particularly. Okay. So there are totally 575 verses where Krishna speaks, and 83 verses spoken by Arjuna, and there are 41 verses spoken by Sanjaya. So this is like a, just statistics. I'm telling how many verses are there. So totally 700 verses, and there is only one verse spoken by Dhritarashtra. So here what you have to understand is that, so you might get a doubt that, so Dhritarashtra is speaking here, so Arjuna is speaking, so why it is called Bhagavad Gita then? Krishna spoke only 575 verses, how it is called Bhagavad Gita? So there are only 575 verses must be Krishna words, the others are not spoken by Krishna, so I want to exclude it. So it is not like that. So all other verses are supporting for this environment. So everything it becomes auspicious. Okay, and so now, why Bhagavad Gita? So sometimes Bhagavad Gita is also called as Yoga Shastra. So why this Bhagavad Gita is called Yoga Shastra? Bhagavad Gita is called Yoga Shastra because this word yoga comes from Sanskrit word yuj. Yuj means connecting to the Supreme Lord. That is the meaning. Okay, so this word yoga is not what we see outside some gymnastic exercises, right? By Ramdev Baba, and we see right outside. So that is not yoga. So there is a different thing. So generally, the meaning of yoga means it comes from Sanskrit word yuj, and yuj means connecting. So this is a definition given by Srila Prabhupada. So this word yoga appears 78 times in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, and so that is a reason it is called Yoga Shastra also. Okay, and this is just this is not particularly this is like analysis. I'm just explaining. Nothing in we haven't started at chapter 1. And there is a yogi word. Yogi is also a kind of a yoga word. So this yogi word is found 28 times, and similar to the yogi word, there is another word called yukta, which is found 49 times. So that is the reason it is called Yoga Shastra. Totally yoga word is appeared 155 times. So 49 plus 28 plus 78, so 155 times. So 20% of the Bhagavad Gita is having this yoga. So it is called Yoga Shastra. Okay. Now getting to the overview of this chapter 1, from we have up to 40. How many verses we have? 43. Okay, I'll just explain the overview. Okay. Okay, you can make it two parts. and this Bhagavad Gita can be made into two sections. So this thing, if you want, you can make a note. Whoever is really very serious in learning Bhagavad Gita, some points I'll tell you. That if you want, you can make a note. So from text 1 to text 26, it comes under observing the armies. Okay, this section explains observing the armies, and there is a second section, text 27 to text 46. It is all about Arjuna's lamentation, Arjuna's doubts, like that. Okay, and again within text under the first section I told, right, observing the armies, text 1 to 26, again it is subdivided. Okay, text 1 to 13, it's all about preparation of war, and text 14 to 20, it is all about signs of victory for Pandavas. What are the signs? Then 21 to 26 is how Krishna is a Bhakta Vatsala. He's obeying to the Arjuna. Okay. Then next 27 to 30 is about compassion. Then comes 31 to 35 is enjoyment. 36 to 38, fear of sinful reactions. So Arjuna is afraid of if I do any sinful reaction. So he's afraid what is going to happen, like that. Then 39 to 43 is about family. If I kill everyone, then Arjuna is afraid. This family is going to. What about their family parampara? Uh, in their next future, all the next generation will not know what is good and bad, right? If I kill their elders, so that is what he's afraid of. Am I distracting the family traditions, like that? Arjuna gets feared. So it is in the 39 to 43. Okay, so let's get to text 1. Okay, so anyone is ready to read? Anyone? Hare Krishna. Yeah, who is that? Krishna Prana.
Krishna Prana.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Should I read?
Prabhu. Yeah, yes, Prabhu. You can continue from here. Yeah.
धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किं कुर्वन् सञ्जयः. Dhritarashtra.
We will go to the translation and then purport directly because when you are reading personally, you can read word to word everything. So to keep up the time, we are just reading translation and purport. But when you read personally, please read word to word. If you want to learn Bhagavad Gita, the thing is that you have to go through this word to word. This is a very important thing, especially if you are learning the verses. You have to know what is the meaning of each word, then it is very easy to remember the verse. So that is the important tip for anyone who is memorizing verses. Yes, Prabhu.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjay, after assembling in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do? Being desirous to fight. Bhagavad Gita is the widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very structurally with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretation. The example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretation, then he surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. One will find in Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures, but the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. That is the specific standard of the Gita. It is the perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. The topic
discussed by yeah, 1 second, Prabhu. See here, yes, this is a very important thing. One should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly. So this is a most important thing, and even told by Prabhupada that we have to read his books scrutinizingly, each line by line, we have to try to understand. So here it is spoken that without any personally motivated interpretations, one should read Bhagavad Gita scrutinizingly with the help of a devotee of Krishna. Okay, you read it, and if you don't understand, you take some guidance from any of your senior devotees. You maybe you can get some lectures from YouTube, and directly you can get from Srila Prabhupada lectures are there. Please refer to the lectures. You get more understanding, and line by line you keep reading, you will get it. And next thing is that if anyone understands Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretation, he surpasses all Vedic wisdom and scriptures of the world. Okay, please continue, Prabhu.
The topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjay are described in the Mahabharata from the basic principle for this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time of the Vedic age. It was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on the planet for the guidance of mankind.
So this place is called a sacred. See, this is because there's a discussion between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya. This philosophy evolved the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and Kurukshetra is called a sacred pilgrimage from time immemorial because that place is having that many fastings, and even demigods know that it's a very auspicious place. So that Kurukshetra, that is why it is called sacred pilgrimage. And Lord Krishna is directly spoken there. Yeah, continue. Bro.
The word Dharma Kshetra, a place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. In his doubt, he inquired from his secretary Sanjay, "What did my sons and the sons of Pandu do?" He was confident that both his sons and the sons of his younger brother Pandu were assembled in that field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of the war. Still, his inquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the sons and cousins and brothers, and he wanted to be sure of the fate of his sons on the battlefield. Because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship, even for the denizens of heaven, Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjun and the sons of Pandu favorably, because by nature they were all virtuous. Sanjay was a student of Vyas, and therefore, by the mercy of Vyas, Sanjay was Sanjay was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. And so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation on the battlefield.
So here, what it is spoken is that this battle is happening in the Kurukshetra place. So it's a sacred place, and this Dhritarashtra is very well aware of about this. That this is a pious place, and he knows that Pandavas are very pious people. So I can understand that this looks like the situations are little quite friendly for Pandavas, and so he is becoming more and more anxiety whether my sons will win or not. So why he is asking Sanjaya what is happening like that. And Sanjaya, he was able to see what's happening in the battlefield just sitting in a room because he's having that capability. He got this power from Vyasdev. That is how that telescopic television, like a television, he is able to see what's happening in the battle, for even just sitting in the room for Dhritarashtra. So, yeah, please continue.
Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons as gurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. one can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephew, the sons of Pandu. As in the paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken out. So it is expected from the very beginning of this topic that in the religious field Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Sri Krishna, was present. The unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhan, and others would be wiped out, and the truly religious persons headed by Yudhishthir would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the words Dharmakshetre and Kurukshetre apart from their historical and basic importance.
So yes, sons of Pandu and sons of Dhritarashtra, they belong to the same family, right? They are coming from the same family. But Dhritarashtra considers only his sons as a Kurus. He only considers that only my sons belong to the Kuru dynasty. The others are just ignored by him. He is separating Pandavas from his family heritage. So then, the words Dharma and Kshetra, so this Dharma, Kshetra and Kurukshetra also represents that Lord Krishna would wipe out unwanted plans like this Duryodhana and others. So just like how you take out all these weeds from the crop, right? Like that, Krishna would remove all this the unwanted people, sinful people like Duryodhana and all this Kaurava side. So he and by establishing religious principles, making Yudhishthira as a king. Yes, Prabhu, please continue. Text two. Anyone wants to continue also, please come up, okay?
Prabhu, can I read?
Yeah, please, please.
Okay. From text 2.
Yeah, this is text two. You can just read this, and if you're feeling uncomfortable by reading this one, you can just skip this. We can go directly read translation and purport. So this class is all about understanding, but when you are reading personally, please read the
Okay.
Sanskrit and
I'll try to
also
read
word
it.
to word, word to word. Yeah.
Okay. Sanjay Uvacha Drashtava tu Pandavavanikam
Pandavanikam.
Pandavanikam Yuvudham Duryodhanas Tada Acharyam Upasangamaya Raja Vancham Avravit.
Mhm. Translation.
Sanjay said, Sanjay said, O king, after looking over the army gathered by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and began to speak the following words. Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision. He knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion, and he was sure that they could never reach an understanding with the Pandavas, who were all pious since birth. Still, he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage, and Sanjay could understand his motive in asking about the situation of the battlefield. He wanted, therefore, to encourage the despondent king, and thus he warned him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Sanjay therefore informed the king that his son Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief Dronacharya to inform him of the real position. Although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of seriousness of the situation. He was therefore fit to be politician, but Duryodhana's diplomatic veneer could not disguise the fear he felt when he saw the military arrangement of the Pandavas.
Okay, so here what happens? See, Dhritarashtra is not a religious person, so he's not a pious person. He knows that by himself, and he also knows that his sons are not pious people. He knows this very well about that. He's blind by physically, and also is blind by religion. So he knows that Pandavas are very pious by birth. And so his sons can't reach them. He knows that Kauravas can't reach to the Pandavas. That he knows very well. Pandavas are by pious in nature. He knows about them also very well. So he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage. So because this place, as I said, Kurukshetra is a very pious place. So he can he's afraid of that. So as we discussed already, so that point is included here. And then so when Dhritarashtra asked this, that what is happening, so he can understand. Sanjay can understand. Acha, this person is so scared, so he's asking this. So by understanding this, so he understood his Dhritarashtra's intention and replied like this: "You are not. Your sons are not at all compromised under the influence of the holy place. Don't worry. So your sons are fully strong and confident. Don't worry about that." And then Sanjay continued, Duryodhana, with very confidently, he is stood there, and also he is moving to the Dronacharya, who is commander in chief there in Kaurava side. So he moved to the Dronacharya, and then he is making some diplomatic conversations with him. So what is that diplomatic conversations he want to make? We'll see in the next verse. He's talking something in a very tactical way. He will deal with Dronacharya. What is it? Let's see. Yeah, please continue.
पश्यतां पाण्डुपुत्राणां मार्चयमैतिं किमुं द्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तव शिष्येण धीमता
Okay. Wait.
O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada.
Drupada.
Drupada. Okay.
Purport.
Duryodhana, Duryodhana, a great diplomat, wanted to point out the defects of Dronacharya, the great Brahmana commander in chief. Dronacharya had some political quarrel with King Drupad, the father of Draupadi, who was Arjuna's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Drupad performed a great sacrifice by which he received the benediction of having a son who would be able to kill Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew this perfectly well, and yet, as a liberal Brahman, he did not hesitate to impart all his military secrets when the son of Drupad, Drishtadyumna, was entrusted to him for a military education. Now, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Drishtadyumna took the side of Pandavas, and it was he who arranged for their military phalanx after having learned the art from Dronacharya. Duryodhana pointed out the mistake of Dronacharya's so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fighting. By this, he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly lenient in battle against the Pandavas, who were also Dronacharya's affectionate students. Arjuna, especially, was his most affectionate and brilliant student. Dronacharya also wanted that such leniency in the fight would lead to direct.
Defeat. Okay, so here what happened is that Duryodhana, he walked into Dronacharya and he's telling us. So this is all explained by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. Okay, so now we are able to follow up to here, right? So here Duryodhana is moving towards to the commander in chief, who is Dronacharya. So and he is talking to Dronacharya like this. See, Dronacharya. Drupada Maharaj, he is father of Draupadi. Okay, so he had there is Dronacharya had some quarrel with Drupada. Okay, these two people they had some quarrel. So Drupada, in order to take a revenge on Dronacharya, he did some tapasya austerities to beget a son who is having the capability to kill Dronacharya. So his name is Drishtadyumna. There it is. Okay, see here it is. Drishtadyumna. So he is a son of Drupada. So he gets the capacity. Now he is having the capability to kill Dronacharya. So he is pointing this thing. The Duryodhana is telling in a very tactful way. Is telling, just be have to be careful. Huh? Okay, you are see, you fought with him, and now Drishtadyumna is to Pandava's side, so he's very capable of killing you also. Now, yeah, we have to be very careful, and also don't be lenient. He's telling, do not be lenient in the battle. Okay. I know that you like Pandavas so much, and Arjuna is your favorite student. Don't be lenient. You have to fight with motive. Okay, like that in a tactful way is telling, like that. Yeah.
अत्रशूरा महिष्वासा भीमार्जुन समायुधि युयुधनो विराटस्य दुप्रदर्श महारथ. Here in this army, there are many heroic women equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna. There are also great fighters like Yudhana, Veerta, and Drupada. Perfect. Even though Drishtadyumna was not a very important obstacle in the face of Dronacharya's very great power in the military art, there were many other who were the cause of fear. They are mentioned by Duryodhana as great stumbling blocks on the path of victory because each and every one of them was as formidable as Bhim and Arjun. He knew the strength of Bhima and Arjuna and thus he compared the others with them.
So here Duryodhana is mentioning who else are there? Very strong people. Yudhana, Virata, Drupada, as another. These are some stumbling blocks who are almost equal to Bhima and Arjuna, because he knows very well how much strong is Bhima and Arjuna. And Duryodhana is more afraid of Bhima, because Bhima has a capacity to kill Duryodhana. He knows that only Bhima can kill him. Text 5.
दृष्टकेतेषु चिकित्तनः कशिराजस च वीरवयं वन् पुरुजित् कुन्तीभुजश्च सिय- शिवयश्च नार पुनगवः.
Pungavaha.
There are also heroic powerful fighters like Dhartaketu,
Drishtaketu.
Chikitana, Drishtaketu, Chikitana, Kashiraj, Purujit, Kunti Bhoja, and
Sebya.
Shivaya.
So Duryodhana further mentions there are some more powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashiraja, Purijit, Kuntibhoj, and Sebya. So this Kashiraja is the king of Kashi, right from Kashi city. Text 6.
युद्धमन्युश्च विक्रान्त उत्तमुजाश्च वीर्यवान् सुभद्रो द्रौपदेयश्च सर्व एव महारथाः.
Mhm.
There are mighty, they are the mighty Yudhimanyu, the very powerful Uttamaja, and the son of Subhadra and the sons of Draupadi. All the warriors are great chariot fighters.
Yeah, so here again he is mentioning, Duryodhana is like again mentioning some more chariot fighters like Yudhamanyu, Uttamauja, son of Subhadra and son of Draupadi. Okay, so he's mentioning few more. Next, text 7. So it's all all these things is like is a leader. Duryodhana is a leader. A diplomatic way is telling, oh, see, these people are there, got to be very careful, like that. We'll talk right and like that. He is dealing by explaining all these things. Okay, please, text 7.
अस्माकं तु विशिष्टये तानि बुधा द्विजोतं नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते. So translation. Prabhuji.
O best of Brahmans, for your information,
Okay, sorry. I was lost my connection. There was a power cut, so I lost my broadband. So I hope everyone is here. I'm back. Okay. Okay,
Okay.
I'm using my mobile hotspot. Okay, you have finished text 7.
Yes, Prabhu, but
Okay.
translation and purpose is left.
Okay, translation. You can go. Please proceed with translation.
There is no screen sharing. I didn't have.
Oh, okay. One second. Yeah.
Oh, best of Brahmanas, for your information, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force.
So now see, he's comparing now Duryodhana. Now he told about the strengths of Pandavas. Now, in order to boost his army, so he's comparing now. He wants to compare the force of from his army and with Pandavas. Okay, let's go to next state.
Bhavan Bhishmacha Karnascha Krapascha Smithinjaya Ashvathama Vikarnascha Swamidatta Tatahivacha. There are personalities like yourself, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwathama, Vikarna, and the son of Somdatta called Bhush-
Bhurishwara.
Bhurisharva, who are always victorious in battle. Perfect. Duryodhana mentioned the exceptional heroes in the battle, all of whom are ever victorious. Vikarna is the brother of Duryodhana, Ashwathama is the son of Dronacharya, and Somdatti or Bhurshiva is the son of the king Vilikas. Krishna
Bhalikas.
Karna is the half brother of Arjuna, as he was born of Kunti before her marriage with King Pandu. Kripacharya married the twin sister of Dronacharya.
So here Duryodhana is mentioning now the very serious fighters from his side. He wants to come. He's comparing. So he's telling. He's mentioned about. He's talking to Dronacharya, right? So he's mentioning yourself like that. So he's mentioned Dronacharya, then Bhishma, Vikarna. Then there is Duryodhana's brother Ashwathama. Then son of Dronacharya Somadatti, and that is what mentioned here. Bhurishwara. Then there is Karna, half brother of Arjuna. He was born of, as it is mentioned, that Karna was born with King Pandu before the marriage. And Krupacharya. So all these people were mentioned here. Next, text 9.
Should I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah. You would like to read?
Yes.
Please.
अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे व्यक्तजीविता नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणा सर्वे युद्धविशारदा. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their life for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. As far as the others are concerned, like Jayadratha, Krutavarma, Shalya, etc., all are determined to lay down their lives for Duryodhana's sake. In other words, it is already concluded that all of them would die in the battle of Kurukshetra for joining the party of the sinful Duryodhana. Duryodhana was, of course, confident of his victory on account of the above-mentioned combined strength of his friends.
So Duryodhana is like this. When someone goes to an interview, he knows that he's answering the right or wrong answer, but he is very confident. Yes, this is the right answer. In interview, you would have already faced, right? You go to the and you talk. You even though you might tell a wrong answer, but you explain it very confidently, right? So like that, Duryodhana is anyway. It's very clear that it's concluded that all of them would die in the battle of Kurukshetra, but still is very confident. Text 10.
अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितं पर्याप्तं त्विदमेतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhim, is limited. Herein, the estimation of comparative strength is made by Duryodhana. He thinks that the strength of his armed forces is immeasurable, being specifically protected by the most experienced general grandfather Bhishma. On the other hand, the forces of the Pandavas are limited, being protected by a less experienced general Bhim, who is like a fig in the presence of Bhishma. Duryodhan was always envious of him because he knew perfectly well that if he should die at all, he would only be killed by Bhim. But at the same time, he was confident of his victory on account of the presence of Bhishma, who was a far superior general. His conclusion that he would come out of the battle victorious as well as certain.
So Duryodhana he compared both the parties, and he's so confident of the victory because his grandfather, great grandfather, who is very powerful, Bhishma Dev, is present on their side. So he's confident that we are going to win, and is comparing like this. On the other side, it is led by the party of Pandavas is led by Bhima, which is he is having very limited experience, and Duryodhana is also aware that his death is in the hands of the Bhima. Yeah, text 11.
अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागमवस्थिता भीष्मवेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि. Now all of you must give full support to grandfather Bhishma, standing at your respective strategic points in the phalanx of the army. Duryodhan, after praising the prowess of Bhishma, further considered that others might think that they had been considered less important. So in his usual diplomatic way, he tried to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized that Bhishma Dev was undoubtedly the greatest hero, but he was an old man, so everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight, and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. Therefore, it was important that other heroes would not leave their strategic positions and allow the enemy to break the phalanx. Duryodhan clearly felt that the victory of the Kurus depended on the presence of Bhishma Dev. He was confident of the full support of Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya in the battle because he well knew that they did not even speak a word when Arjuna's wife Draupadi, in her helpless condition, had appealed to them for justice while she was being forced to strip naked in the presence of all the great generals in the assembly. Although he knew that the two generals had some sort of affection for the Pandavas, he hoped that all such affection would now be completely given up by them, as was customary during the gambling performances.
So here, so he's a very tactfully the leader Duryodhana is very tactfully making political talks. So he's like encouraging everyone by comparing the strengths, and now he's encouraging Bhishma Dev. He's telling how we have to protect Bhishma Dev from all the sides. So no, because when he's very seriously engaged, someone might come and hit from this side or that side. So please let's protect our Bhishma Dev. We have to give protection. Then again he's telling that he's very confident. He's very confident about the support which is coming from Bhishma and Dronacharya, because even when Draupadi got stripped in the assembly, Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya was kept quiet. So he's very confident that they will definitely support him. And I know tactfully is telling okay, and so that others should not even feel that they was not mentioned like that. So he is very equally treating everyone, and he's making the talks. Text.
तस्य संजनयन् हर्षं कुरुद्
रामगुंडा
वृद्धपितामहः
Hare
Brahmanadam
Krishna.
Vinadyoche Shantham Dadhau Pratapavan. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly like the sound of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. The grandsire of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the hurt of his grandson Duryodhana, and out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson Duryodhana that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection.
So here Bhishma Dev, so after all this talks finished, then Bhishma Dev, he blew this conch shell, like to just cheer up Duryodhana. This because Duryodhana is also little quite to not to just encourage him like that, and indirectly in a symbolic way, telling Acha Pandavas will definitely win because Krishna is in their side like that. He's telling text 13. Someone is please mute your mic now, other than reader Gauri Prasad. Can you please mute? Yeah.
ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते महती स्यन्दने स्थितौ माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदध्मतुः. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjun, stationed on a great chariot drawn by the white horses, sounded their transcendental constant.
So what
In
happened?
contrast,
Yeah, please go on.
in contrast with the conch shell blown by Bhishma Dev, the conch shells in the hands of Krishna and Arjun are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental conch shell indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side because Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas. Jayastu Pandu Putranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana.
One second. So what happened after that Bhishma Dev blew conch shell? Then the all huge conch shells, bubbles, trumpets, drums, and everything was sounded. Very big, huge noise was created. That's why it's mentioned. It was very tumultuous. Okay, then after that, what happened? The sounding of transcendental conch shells from Krishna and Arjuna also, it was blown very loudly. From now Kaurava's side was finished, right? Now Pandava's side also, the sound is coming, very huge sound that is from Krishna and Arjuna. And that sound is indicating that there is no hope of victory for the other side because this side victory is very eagerly waiting for Arjuna because Krishna is present here, and wherever Krishna is present, there is goddess of fortune. Goddess of fortune is always present, right? So that is why victory is really very eagerly waiting for the Arjuna victory and also good fortune. And also there's one more important point mentioned here is that what is the other reason of victory for Arjuna. These are all very important points. Okay, so Arjuna's chariot, there's one more point is that Arjuna's chariot was gifted by Agni Dev, and this chariot has some specific power. What is that in this about three worlds, whether it is a lower world or middle world or upper world, in these three worlds, wherever you go with this chariot, there is no what do you say, he's always victorious, no one can beat him. So this chariot was gifted to Arjuna by Agni Dev. So you're reading which verse, Prabhu? 14th or 15th?
14th.
Okay, I just now explained 14th. Yeah, please go on with 14th. Yeah.
Jayastu Pandu Putranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana. Victory is always with persons like the sons of Pandu because Lord Krishna is associated with them. And whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there because the goddess of fortune never lives alone without her husband. Therefore, victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by the conch shell of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Besides that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated was donated by Agni, the fire god, to Arjuna. And this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides wherever it was drawn over the three worlds. Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya Poundram Dadno Mahashankham Bhima Karma Vrukodara. Then Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjun blew the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundram. Lord Krishna is referred to as Rishikesh in this verse because he is the owner of all senses the living entities are part and parcel of, and therefore the senses of the living entities are also part and parcel of his senses. The impersonalists cannot account for the senses of the living entities, and therefore they are always anxious to describe all living entities as senseless or impersonal. The Lord, situated in the heart of all living entities, directs their senses, but he directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity. And in the case of a pure devotee, he directly controls the senses. Here, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Lord directly controls the transcendental senses of Arjun, and thus his particular name of Rishikesh. The Lord has different names according to his different activities. For example, his name is Madhusudan because he killed the demon of the name Madhu. His name is Govind because he gives pleasure to the cows and to the senses. His name is Vasudeva because he appeared as the son of Vasudeva. His name is Devakinandan because he accepted Devaki as his mother. His name is Yashodananda because he awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda at Vrindavan. His name is Parthasarathi because he worked as charioteer of his friend Arjuna. Similarly, his name is Rishikesh because he gave direction to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna is referred to as Dhananjay in this verse because he helped his elder brother in fetching wealth when it was required by the king to make expenditures for different sacrifices. Similarly, Bhim is known as Brukodar because he could eat as voraciously as he could perform here Herculean tasks such as killing the demon Hidimba. So the particular types of conch shell blown by as killing the demon Hidimba. So blown by Lord, blown by different personalities on the side of the Pandavas. Beginning with the lords were all very encouraging to the fighting soldiers. On the other side, there were no such credit, nor the presence of Lord Krishna, the supreme director, nor that of the goddess of fortune. So they were predestined to lose the battle. And that was the message announced by the sounds of the conch shell.
So here Lord Krishna, he blew his conch shell and Arjuna blew his conch shell. So what is Krishna's conch shell called? It is this conch shell has a name, particular name is Panchajanya. Panchajanya. Then Arjuna's conch shell is Devadatta. Then Bhima also blew his conch shell. So Poundram. Panchajanya, Devadatta, Poundram. All these conch shells, they have made a huge sound. And this sound was very encouraging to all the fighters, and they gave very much confidence because this is a transcendental sound produced directly by Krishna itself, right? Krishna and his party. And that is also indicating that the Kauravas will definitely lose. That sound is indicating. And here one more important point to be make a note is that Krishna is called Rishikesha. Can you see the screen here? Please make a note of this point, very important point. So why is called Rishikesha? So here, as we spoke already in the previous lesson, Isha means Isha. The meaning of Isha means controller. Okay. Rishika means senses. Rishikesha, the one who controls the senses, he is called Rishikesha. So here in this battlefield, Arjuna is a devotee of Lord. So whoever is a devotee of the Lord, all his senses are controlled by Krishna. Okay, so whoever so Supreme Krishna is called Rishikesha because he's the owner of the senses. He's a master of the senses, as Krishna told, na, aham bija pradapita, aham bija pradapita. That means I am the seed giving father. I am the father, like that. So we are all sons of Krishna. Okay, so he is a one who is a father. So he is so when we are all sons of Krishna, then our senses also belongs to him, and that is why this he's called a Rishikesha. Okay, so because he is owner of the senses is called Rishikesha, and in this particular battlefield, Arjuna's senses is also controlled by Rishikesha as a Krishna. So that's why it's called like Rishikesha. Okay, and then here in this para, if you see here, Lord has all different names from here to here, all different names. So this today's session will stop up to here. Okay, so I hope it's all about the introduction. So still, serious philosophy has not yet started. Once you enter into the second chapter, so much serious philosophy will get, and it is very interesting. Now in this chapter, it's all about setting the scene, war, all these things will be there. Okay, so I hope you read it by yourself. Again, please make notes for yourself. Okay, then that would be very useful for you. Okay, and if you are even more serious, then according to that, I'll try to give you questions also from chapter 1. You can find answers, and maybe you can hand over to Gaurang Prabhu your answers, like that, so it will help for you to learn. Please keep making notes, separate notes for yourself, each and every point, so that you can, and please try to memorize the verses. So if you are interested, I can tell you what are the important verses also. So you can please memorize your verses, any important verse.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu
Allahu
Akbar.
Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Muhammadur Rasulullah.
इधर कचरा मत फैला सर.
Okay, we'll wind up this session here.
Jihadists attacked the chat. We need to leave now.
There it is.
Okay, okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare
so much for
Hare
attending
Krishna,
this
Prabhuji.
session. We'll meet up to the another session. Okay, take care. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Bol.
कहाँ से आ गई थी आपका जिहादी?
मिलने मदर चोर. All Prabhuji Mataji's, please you can leave. Some intruders have attacked their class. All Prabhujis and Matajis are requested to leave this class.